Yeah. Checking. Yeah, man. Welcome back, everyone, man. This is Nikada Media Host here again, man. I'm here to do the Real Never Jamaican Premier League show. The game just finished, the big bad Jamaican and Classico. Waterhouse versus the Junglists in the concrete jungle. What a game. But I have too much there to talk about, people. I have too much there to talk about, the games that happened over the weekend. In match day 5 and match day 6, that took place yesterday and today. So I'm going to jump and talk about match day 5 first. Give my little rundown at what happened over the weekend. I think I attend around 4 games over the weekend in Jamaican Premier League. So yeah, there again, man. There again, talk about the Jamaican Premier League, the bread and butter. But those early games that played, on Sunday, I think Lima versus Cavalier, double header in the Garden Parish of St. Ann, double header Lima. I think that game drew 1-1, Lima versus Cavalier, and the second game, the featured game, Arbor View, versus Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant won that game, 2-0. I wasn't at that game, but I was watching. I was watching. I was watching the Portmore and Malines game. Sunday gone, and at the game I was watching all those games that the first game I was watching the first game at home. The first half, then I drive out and go to Brighton to watch that Portmore game as that one kick off 3 o'clock, and that's where I sit down and watch that Mount Pleasant game versus Arbor View. So yeah, I was on the go, for the last couple of weeks, watching a ton load of games. My mind is running so freely right now, cause I'm doing something that I really love, watching football. It's a part of the therapy, whenever you're going through any type of stress or any type of mental breakdown, any little issues you're going through, man. That's me. I use football, to get over a lot of those issues, whenever I'm having a bad day, I just turn to football, and I can turn to many things, but football is one of the easiest thing, to settle my mind. That is my therapy, that is my pill, So yeah, first game, but before we go to the first game, hat-trick, another hat-trick I've scored, on match day 5. We saw Justin Dunn for Tivoli scored a hat-trick on Arnett Garden. Not I think it was match day 4, and then Javian Brown, came and scored another hat-trick, second hat-trick of the season so far. The man from Rima is on farm, but what happened today, man, Mr. Javian Bryan? What happened today in the concrete jungle? But yeah, big up to Javian Bryan, scored a hat-trick on Veer United as they beat that was a Monday night game, 7:30, and they beat what, 3, I think it was 4-1, on the day. But first game, Lima versus Cavalier, man, that game, I don't know what's going on with Cavaliers. Like, Cavaliers is not playing, I'm just thinking, like, is Cavalier thinking about that game against the Surinamese team, Robin Hood? That's the team that they're going to play, next week. They're going to finish that CFU championship. And I think Arborview played Mocha. I don't remember where that team is from. Mocha. I don't know if it's a Danrep team, but yeah, both Jamaican Premier League team going to play, the CFU Club Championship next week. So yeah, but the game, man, I think Kevin Graham, this big center for Lime Hall, scored a stunning header, and what's his name, Jaden White, he got a few fingertips on the ball, but that ball flew right through his hand. I think his timing reaction was really poor, and I think he could have probably stopped it if his timing was a little bit better, to be honest. But Cavalier came back, with a penalty, controversial penalty, controversial penalty. Who's I didn't saw the end of the game. At the time when I was watching the game, my stream, kind of frozen up on me, so I couldn't see that controversial, handball that I heard, happen in the last minute. Hold on. What is that? Okay. 1 second, 1 second. I think. Yeah, my apology. The AC fan was blowing a whole lot of noise. I don't know when that AC, the fan covered. So yeah, that's why it was making a whole lot of noise. But yeah, Ronaldo Robinson, he got that late penalty, to give Cavalier a point, in that game. I when I was watching that game, I was like, if Lime lose this game, it's they just throw away 3 points, as they really need it. They one of those teams that struggling in the Jamaican Premier League right now. Lime is currently in 13th position, and 2 points. So yeah, but they threw away that 3 points as they created so many chances in that game. But one of they I took from that game, the Cavalier team, their wingers, they just look like they just can't beat players 1v1, but I can understand that, it was a 1 o'clock kickoff, in Senton, it was hot, so I could understand that and the players, but come on, this is big bad Cavaliers, Cavaliers were finished, I think, second last season behind Arnett in the regular season, the team that went to the final, of the Premier League, but I expect Cavalier to be doing much better. Cavaliers sit, at sixth position, but what's going on? But I initially said that, as soon as this CFU championship, get out of the way, I think you're going to see a better Cavalier team, to be honest. But let's see what's going to happen with this Cavalier team, but I'm going to, move on, from that game. Um, going to talk about, yeah. I didn't see the last 30 minutes, or not 30 minutes, the last 15 minutes of the Mount Pleasant game. That they beat Harborview, 2-0. Kimoni Bailey, the man them called Rasta. I think that's his when he scored. That was his third goal, and he scored again today. So I think that's his fourth goal of the season. The man is on farm, and he's playing some excellent football. Who saw that goal that he scored? Against um, the same Harborview team that I think that came off at the edge of the box. But it's a stunner. That goal was a stunner. And that pass from Romeo Guthrie, led to Devante Campbell, the young prodigy from Mount Pleasant Academy. He scored that goal and to call the game. That's it for Harborview. But Harborview is struggling. What's going on with Stars of the East? What's going on? Okwesi Chung, missed a penalty on his former team. But I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. Stars. Yes, Harborview is all the way down at the bottom, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to just run through a couple of fixtures that I didn't talk about for match day 5. Arnett Garden, the next game, Arnett Garden, I was at that game. And that was the last game that played off on match day 5, Arnett Garden versus on the Sunday. Yeah, that was the last game that played on the Sunday on match day 5. Arnett Garden beat, Montego Bay 3-1. Montego Bay, it seems like their team only surrounded by one player, and his name is Jean Claudio Rios Ferreira, the Brazilian, the number 10. I I was talking to Ferreira, via WhatsApp after the game, and I was just chit chatting about some things about what he feel about what he feel about his own teammates, his team Montego Bay, what can the team do to improve, what Nazir dos Santos need to do to improve his team. And he was talking about sometimes players are not up to the standard of the pace that he want the team, because he is the man, for Montego Bay. Everything go through him. Arnett got the midfield. They were trying to stop him, but he's all over the field. Jean Claudia, he's a very fit player. He's very fit. When I think it was the first 30 minutes of the game, his shirt wet, his shorts wet, his socks wet. You could see the sweat, pushing out on his skin. So yeah, he's a very fit player. He's hard to mark. And I asked him a question. I said, "Len, do you get provoked a lot? Because I know this for a fact. Jamaican players, whenever you are like international players are from a different country, they just like to provoke you." And he said, "Yeah, they every game that he played, like every players that go up to him in a challenge, they always provoke him." And said that he's the worst Brazilian. He need to go back home. And but he said that he is very focused. He's very focused on what he's doing. He said that he's trying his best to get Montego Bay into the top 6 to qualify for that playoff. He's doing his best, and the rest of his teammates, the rest his fellow countrymen, the other Brazilians, even Willie, I think happened in the game. I think it was the second goal. Was it the second goal? Yeah, it was the second goal. Because the first goal was a penalty, by Shea Smith. Shea Smith scored double, in that game, and Kimani Arbon, scored the third goal to clinch the game for the Junglists. I think that's his 4th or 5th goal of the season so far. But the second goal, I was right behind, the female lineswoman, and I think it was Kimani Arbon that kicked the ball across, and I think the ball came from the left. The ball came from the left side of Arnett Garden and come over to the right, and Shea Smith was on the back post, and he almost missed the goal because he kicked back the ball straight across, and the ball deflected off the keeper, off Willie, and went back to I think it was Luca, the Brazilian. He was actually in the goal. And the ball bounced right back out so quickly. So if you didn't see it on first hands, it's just hard to say that that was a goal. But the Brazilian goalkeeper, William Ferreira, I was teasing him about this, when I was talking to him, and he came over, and like I don't know what Willie was trying to say to the linesman. He was trying to speak in English, or he was trying to speak in patois, but Willie he don't know English. If he know English, it's just by scripts, like a little bit. But he was like, offside, no man, offside, no man. Until I have to big up, the lineswoman. As I think all 3 Brazilians on the field at the time, went straight over, to the lineswoman, and I think it was Jean, the number 10. He was the only one kind of speaking a little bit of English. I mean, a couple of Montego Bay player came over after, but it was so funny because I was right behind him. I was listening, and at one point, Willis he decided he's not going to speak English. He decided to speak some Portuguese, and he said something really bad. Why I knew he said something really bad. Whenever not Mexican, but whenever you hear people talking Spanish or Portuguese, and they use puta, it means something really bad. They said something harsh, And I said, hey, I heard you said puta, and he said like he was saying in Portuguese. And I asked him like, what did you say? Why you said something, bad to the female lineswoman? And he's like, nah, it's not really bad towards her. He was saying that, I think he said, son of a bitch, it wasn't a goal. But he said he wasn't really talking directly towards, he was just, uttered something like, yeah, it's not a goal, but he said it, in his own way. But look, man, the Brazilians, they are so funny, they are so funny, man. And I was teasing him all day, man, about it, and he was just having a laugh at it. But yeah, man, big up to, the Brazilians, from Montego Bay, you know, especially, special respect, to Jane, the number 10. Most people call him Brown Man. Most people call him Brown Man, but Arnett won that game 3-1. That's Arnett Garden first ever 3 points at home in front of their home fans, and they did it again today. So yeah, back to back, for the Junglists at home. But Portmore versus Mullines, Shavani Welsh and I think Keoli, I think his name is Shavani Walsh. Shavani Walsh scored the first goal. Wonderful goal by Shavani Walsh. I was watching that game, and it was a really good kick. I think it was 19 yards out and the 18-yard box. Real good kick. The keeper, what's his name? Peter. That's his name. The keeper, I think he used to keep for Arnett Garden. He couldn't stop that ball, but the next goal scored, I think the 23. Howard, I think his name is some K. His first name started K, like Keoli Howard. But really good goal there on the back post to just to kill a game. But I have to say this about Mullines team, man. In that game, I had a fan. I think he had a family member that was playing for the Mullines United team. And he was really living it. He was living it with the Mullines players. As Mullines, when they played, they just seems to always play with only 3 players. Jeremy Nelson. I think he's a captain. No, it's Jason Wright is a captain. Jason Wright and Livingston, the right winger. So I think the 10, the 7, and 11, those 3 players, they are the marquee players, for Mullines. But it's obvious now, since when Mullines is playing. I think, Alex Thomas and who's in it? I think Vassal Reynolds. I think Vassal Reynolds is the assistant coach, but I just feel like Alex Thomas going to have to change up things because it's so obvious that, whenever Mullines get the ball, it's always, looking out for Jason Wright. I could understand Jason Wright scored 14 goals last season, in the regular season. And, Jeremy Nelson, his younger brother, Nicholas Nelson, he scored, when he was there last season, he scored at 7 goals. Livingston, I think, scored 3 or 4 goals last season. So, those players are the players that, bag the goals for Mullines. But it's just getting obvious. I feel like, Mullines played a more collective football last season, so I don't know, but they got so much chance. They created so many chances in the game. They just didn't took them. And, time and time again, Alex Thomas doing, interviews. And one of the first things always come out of his mouth is that his team is not taking their opportunities, and we saw that again today, but I'm going to talk about that game because I feel like, after what happened today over in the complex, I think Alex Trapp is on the line, but yeah, Portmore United, beat Mullines 2-0, the big number 9, Chevron Walsh. Chevron Walsh used to play for Pittsburgh, I think in the USL, and he used to play in Southeast Asia, in Indonesia and Vietnam. So yeah, he spent a good amount of time down there, in Southeast Asia, playing in Indonesia and Vietnamese Premier League. But yeah, I'm going to move on. The another game, Treasure Beach, on the day. Treasure Beach versus Dumble Holding. That game drew 0-0. Dumble Holding is struggling, but Dumble Holding have some players that, DeAndre, I think DeAndre Thomas, that's his name, but DeAndre, they have Stevenson Barnett, They have Nicholas Nelson. So yeah, they have a front three that that they are always going to depend on to score goals. So they just didn't got any, down there by, at Stetsfield, against Treasure Beach, but that game drew 0-0. But yeah, big up to Double Holding. They did what they want to do. Finally, they got the job done. Going to talk about match day 6 soon. But the game, Tivoli versus Umble, and I have to talk about this game because Tivoli have a special player. I think he's 20 years old. I think he scored his 6th goal of the season, Justin Dunn. He seems like he's a really good poacher. I've seen, since talking about Justin Dunn, I just remember what I want to talk about, but I'm going to wait until I touch that part. But Justin Dunn seems like, he's one of those young striker in the league that's, he's ready to step up. I saw literally 3 good number 9, players that, under 23, Justin Dunn, Wanda Brown, for Arnett Garden, Javian Bryan, for Waterhouse, saw those 3 young players, and even Shaquille Bradford, the man that scored 9 goals last season for Waterhouse, who's at Harborview at the moment. He's doing good things. I see, quite a few youngsters now playing that number 9 position, or Kwesi Chung, from Mount Pleasant. And I think Treasure Beach have another player, I think his name is Ronaldo Robinson, something like that, So yeah, quite a few, youngsters in the league right now is trying to make a mark. Players looking to get contract, Dunn spoke about it like, that's one of his aim, trying to get a contract overseas, I love to see when young players put in the work, they put in the dedication, they put in everything, they put in the sacrifice, because look, to make it to be a professional, it's not easy. You have to put in a lot of sacrifice. You have to put away a whole heap of things. Sometimes me, doing YouTube, as a young YouTuber, I have days that, I have less time to talk to my kids, to be honest. I have less time. It don't happen often, but, these are the sacrifice sometimes you have to put in just to reach where you want to be. You want to be up there as one of the best. You want to be as one of those channel that, people that look out and said, I want to be like Nick the Media House, I want to be like Justin Dunn. Can Justin Dunn be that next marquee player, outside, in Tivoli Garden? Tivoli Garden have so many veteran players, Leslie Scott, Christopher Hickey Jackson, the famous man number 45, the man named Steve Green, big veteran player for Tivoli. I think, did I leave out any? I think trying to remember that player used to strike. Navian Boyd. Navian Boyd is another big player out, used to play for Tivoli, great player in the Jamaican Premier League back then. So Tivoli, been known to producing quality players, and, seeing, young Justin Dunn coming through, Barrington Price, the captain, setting example. I think he scored 2 goals already of the season, so they have a really good leader. But guess what, man, people? I have to say this before I forget. Tivoli have a really good coach. Tivoli have a really good coach. Jerome Wade, we saw what he did match day 4 when he thumped up Arnett Garden face in their own backyard, to beat them 3-1. Tivoli have a really good coach. Why? You could see how this team is really playing. The way how Tivoli Garden is playing, the transition football. Tivoli Garden is playing much faster. As I think last season they played. I don't remember the coach. I think it was it Admiral Bailey and Jeremy and Teddy Johnson was the coach. Was coach and assistant coach at the time last season. Tivoli, look like a team that, they don't know how to play. They look out of shape. They're playing really slow. They conceding a lot of goals. But, this season, Tivoli is playing really good football. But one thing though, you're going to get from a Jerome team. They're going to score goals and they're going to concede goals. Tivoli Garden have conceded quite a few goals now so far, but they played really good. They played. I think they played today. Against the defending champion. Talk about that soon. But yeah, Tivoli Garden man, beat Umberland 4-1. But Umberland is a team. It's I would say more of a age team. I have to big up. Xavier. What's his name? I think his name is. Trying to remember his name. He's a veteran player. Xavier Virgo. We have to big up man like Billy. The farmer. He's a Boys Town legend. Growing up when I was playing for Boys Town, Xavier, even though he's a right back and I played midfield, Virgo was one of those players that I look up to. His attitude towards the game, his fitness level. Xavier Virgo is 38. And Xavier Vega is one of probably the best right back in the league. I don't think none of these youngsters can whip across in like how Xavier Virgo can cross the ball. And I think he gave Clennon an opportunity in that game. And Clennon he just didn't score. I think that's one of Umberland downfall. Andre Clennon. He was a really good player when he was coming through. Waterhouse system at the time. But no, I feel like, he got some injuries over the years and, he used to play in Central America, I think in El Salvador, one of those El Salvador and Guatemala. But he got an opportunity, I think, about 10 minutes or so, in the second half and, crossed by Billy and, he missed it, but he could have put his team back into the game. But Justin Dunn scored a brace in that game, and I think the other player he was Howard Morris. Howard Morris scored 3 goals so far of the campaign. Justin Dunn scored 6 goals. That's 9 goals. And Tivoli Garden, I think Tivoli Garden scores 11 goals. Of the campaign so far. Yeah, they scored 11 goals. They scored 11 goals. So Young Dunn and Howard Morris, scored a combine of 9 goals. So that's like a 3/4 of all the goals so far for Tivoli. So going to move on, a little bit, from Umberland and Tivoli. The other game is the game where Javier Bryan, the man from the Rima era scored a hat-trick. It's a hat-trick, scored a hat-trick, and Jaheim Dorman, scored the other goal, for the Jerusalem team, beating the Clarendon team, Veer, But Veer is a team that, I think Veer coached by Linval Rudy Dixon, formerly a reggae boy, big player, But yeah, Javier Bryan, he look a real player, he looks really fit in the system, especially what Marcel Fozigil is asking for him. He had some quality players behind him that can feed him, so player like Nikai Christian, I talk about Nikai Christian every week for Waterhouse. This player is a really good signing for them. But, he scored 3 goals and, Jaheim Dorman scored 1, so they gave Veer 4-1 on the day. But Veer team is a team that, they have a very strong, I say midfield where, they like to play. They kind of play a little bit predictable, easy. They're just easy to read. Their best players, I think the captain, he's playing that central midfield area. They always try to play through there, and they just, whenever team play them, they just clog up the space and, Veer just, they don't have those wingers where, he's really blessed with pace and can beat players 1v1, But that's it, for match day 5. I'm going to match day 6. Match day 6, Cavalier, got their win, versus Veer United. I just spoke about them. They lose on the weekend against Waterhouse. They lose again against the second place run up in the league last season. Cavalier beat them 3-1. Goal by Shaniel Thomas, and I think Shaniel Thomas scored. Let me see if he scored. If it was a brace, Shaniel Thomas. And I think the other goal was our own goal on the day. But just confirm. I'm going to move on from that still, but own goal scored by Alvin Strachan, to give Cavalier the 3-1 win over Veer, the Clarendon team. I think that game played at Wembley Centre in Clarendon. It's a really tough place to go. It's one of those venues that it kind of really close. Compared to whoever watch the Premier League, see Luton Town team. It's a very close pitch. Tight, really tight. You don't want to play at the Wembley Centre when the rain fall. It's going to be like a like a little swamp. But Cavalier have started the season so slow. This is their second win of the season, and being in 4 now. I think Cavalier, after they lost that first game at Westport Park against Montego Bay, 1-0, after that, they start to just go on and run their 4 games and beaten. They're in 6th position. But Veer has lost back-to-back, only 1 game Veer have won so far in the Premier League. Veer sit 9th position right now in the Premier League. I just don't know if they have the budget can go in the transfer market January, and try to get a striker. Try to get a striker. But let's see, let's see what Linval Rudy Dixon going to do. But yeah, the other goal, in the game for the Cavalier, I found it, it's John Malro Calvin, the Antiguan player, 20 years old. He scored, him scored, the other goal was an own goal, as I said. But yeah, we're going to move on, from Cavalier game, as Cavalier is kind of stepping up the pace now a little bit. Let's see if Cavalier, I think I have them. I think I predict Cavalier last podcast about Cavaliers. I think Cavalier, fifth. I think fifth I have them, or fourth. Yeah, I think it's fourth. I have Cavalier to finish, this season in the regular season. But the other game, another Clarendon team, Humber Lion, they play this game at Effortville Community Center, down there in Clarendon. They beat Montego Bay 3-2. This game, the first half ended 2-2. I think Humber Lion scored first, and Siobhan McDonald, scored a brace, for the team for Montego Bay, and he scored a brace, and Javon Smith, came back and equalized in the 33 minute, pulled the game 2-2, and that's how the first half finished. And Rashane Sharp, scored 3 minutes before added time, 87 minutes, to give the Effortville Community Center team a 3-2 victory. Montego Bay is losing a back-to-back. Montego Bay is a team that's up, down, up, down. As I said earlier, they just have to be a little bit more patient with the team. I think Montego Bay team, one of the biggest problem is that their midfield, they don't have that tackler. I saw the game when they played against Arnett Garden, Sunday gone, and they used, I think, the Brazilian center half, Luca. They played him that stadium. I think they was just trying out because they kind of lack that physicality. But Luca is a tall player, probably 6'3", 6'4". He's not that mobile, can get around in the midfield. He's not comfortable with the ball at his feet. So, he played the midfield, but they made a substitution right after after the start of the second half, and they pushed him back in the center half position, and they brought on another player. But Montego Bay, I think if they can get, I think this team have Brian Brown. Who remember Brian Brown that used to play for Russies? I think he scored. I think he scored on a. I'm trying to remember if it was they played. I think they played Veer and he scored Brian Brown. I knew Brian Brown scored a goal for Montego Bay already. And I think they still have Alanati, but Alanati is on the wrong side, of his time for in his career. But going to Montego Bay, as I said, midfield issues and defensive issues. I think could it be like communication, between the center half and the goalkeepers? They don't speak English, as all to talk. Because when I was watching the game, I was listening to them keenly. I was listening to them keenly. They don't speak English, as they can say stuff like, the two players I'm talking, Willie and Luca, they can probably say stuff like, hey, pass the ball, but other things from that, the communication is way off. But Montego Bay, only one game, and that's the second game of the campaign for them when they beat Cavalier 1-0 at Westport Park, but they sit in level position and 5 points, one win and 2 draws. So, let's see. Umberland is a team, sit in 7th position and 8 points. Umberland conceded 2 goals in this game. Umberland have conceded 15 goals last season, the best defensive team in the Premier League last season. And they conceded 2, not regular, you see, Umberland conceded 2 or more goals. Give you a little stats about Umberland, defensive stats on Umberland. Last season, Umberland have only conceded, they only conceded 2 times last season, 2 or more goals in a game, and that was against Cavalier and against Mullins. Cavalier won when they got 2-1, and the Mullins game, I think they got 3-2. They got 3-1 from Mullins and 2-1 from Cavalier. That was the only 2 games last season Umberland really conceded 2 or more goals. Umberland have the best defensive record behind of Portmore last season. Portmore conceded 17 goals last season. So, when you see a team like Umberland really conceded 2, you have to really look into it. I didn't saw the game, but I wish I could see, some of those goals that scored by Montego Bay to see if it's a defensive error, because, Coach Andrew Price is a very mean coach. And O'Neal Bigger Dempsey is one of those legends, played in the stadium and dropped back in the center of position in his later part in his career. So, they have 2 really good coaches that know how to defend, know to set up a team tactically, with a very tight shape. But Umberland just have to get a striker in. I think they just have to get a striker in. Clennon not going to cut it. Clennon not going to cut it for them. But going to move on. The big game, the champions, defending champions, Mount Pleasant, 5 from 5, scored 10, conceded only 1 goal. This is a remarkable, piece of result for Tapa Whitmore. Got so many criticism over the years for the Reggae Boys, and he won the Premier League for Mount Pleasant for the first time last season. Can he do it invincible? No, I don't think so. When you have a team like the big bad Arnett Garden, I don't think you can go and beat the man. But can't wait for that game. Can't wait for that game, to play about Mount Pleasant again. Need a revenge. Need that revenge from them. But yeah, goal scored by Kimoni Bailey. What a header on the back post. I saw that goal. That was the lone goal in the game, to beat Tivoli. There is nothing Jerome Wade could have done in the game. But what I've read, the game report and stuff like that, it was like a very scrappy game. But both teams kind of cancel out each other's, to be honest, because Jerome Wade is a really tactical coach. Jerome Wade know how to close out players. Jerome Wade know how to change his team. As this Jerome Wade, he can play that 4-3-3. He could drop back into that 3-4-3 formation, and that's what Tivoli is doing really well. But you have to give Tapa Whitmore credit when you have players like Howard Morrison, scoring left, right, and center for Garden. Dunn, he's scoring goal 6 already. When you have players like those on the opposition team and you shut them out, get a clean sheet. As I said, Tapa team only conceded 1 goal this season. I tell you real quick, that game, the only game that Tapa Whitmore they played and they scored, and it was against Mullins. That game against Mullins, it was Mullins? Yeah, that game was against Mullins, I think last week they conceded. Last weekend they conceded a goal. They won 3-1, but that's the only game they conceded so far in the Premier League. So yeah, score 10, concede one. Wonderful stats. Tapa Whitmore is flying. And I think the game that they played, was it? I think the game that they played against Arborview, they had like 7 players out on international duty. And Mount Pleasant, their squad depth is huge. They have 2 very good goalkeepers, two of the best, goalkeepers in the league. Tafare Chambers, I think he used to play for Arborview, and Shaquan Davis, formerly stand out for Idle, really good keeper. One good keeper is keeping out another good keeper. But when you have squad depth like Mount Pleasant, man, it doesn't matter if you miss 11 players on international. Look, this is our Mount Pleasant team is really big. When you have 7 players for a team in the Jamaica, how many teams in the Jamaican Premier League can they say they have 7 players out on international duties? Not many squad can do that, and still they feel a really good squad. They feel that really good squad. Let me see if I can find that squad that they played against Arborview. They start in 11. They start a really good team. Here we go, against Arborview. So Shaquan Davis, Shaquille Dyer, Fisher Cummings, I don't remember, but Kimani Bailey, Odin Murray, Sule McCullough, the captain, Ramon Owell, they they have so many players, Devante Campbell, Romeo Gotio, Kwesi Chong, Marlon Hallin. Then you have so much players, didn't start in that game who was actually, out on international duties, man. But they have so much players, and today, the game that they played, against Tivoli, they start, Marlon Allen, Chung, Guthrie, Campbell, Owen, McCullough, Murray, Cummings, actually the same team. And they can afford to bench player like Demari Deacon, Jamoy Tope, Shandy James, Tafai Bygrave. Tafai Bygrave was one of those players, I think a couple seasons ago was the leading goal scorer, when Dumble Holding was flying high in the league, and just to see that ranking, Leonardo Rankin, he was one of the best CDM, that was playing in the Premier League a couple seasons when he was at Cavalier, and they have Kimani Campbell. They have so much players, especially both. They have 2 Trinidad players, and you don't ever see them are Maestro Phillips. So I see this team. They are the big favorites going in. To the end of this regular season. Mount Pleasant. There's no way Mount Pleasant. Should, I think. If Mount Pleasant lose the league, it's a failure. It's a failure. You just cannot. Go with this team in a league and don't win it. But I've seen coaches. I have seen coaches have some really good teams in the past, especially in those early days of my time. I remember watching Arnett Garden. Jerome Waite have player like Onandelu and Walter Boy together, man. It just can't get any better from there. Byron Earl. So. But I mean, those players were in the lateral part of their career, but you have to give Tapa credit though. You have to give Tapa Whitmore some credit, to put these players out on a pitch every match day, get them to play together, get everyone is working with the same team structure. So yeah, you have to give them credit. Even you saw teams, especially like a Paris Saint-Germain team, Pochettino, Christopher Gaitan, these coaches couldn't do it at Paris Saint-Germain. They just couldn't get over the line as they have Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, the best front three you can name in the world. So yeah, when you have really good squad and you see a coach is doing good, you have to give him credit because it takes a lot, especially when you have so many egos in the dressing room, players that don't want to be benched. You have to be rotating. But so yeah, man, give Tapa Whitmore some credit in that game. I'm going to move on, from Tivoli Tivoli versus Mount Pleasant. But Tivoli, this season is in fifth position. Two lost, they won three. You know, they before this game, I think Tivoli have scored 3 goals in their last 3 games. Before this game, I think they beat. No, they played 3 out of 4 games before this game and scored 3 more goals in those 3 games that they won. The first game, they beat Waterhouse in the National Stadium, they beat Arnett Garden, and they beat another team. I don't remember what other team, but yeah, but they have been scoring goals left, right, and center. But Harborview, Portmore, you know, 2 teams, used to challenge for the title, season after season, season after season. I think, Harborview have won 5 Jamaican Premier League. I think Portmore have won 7. So yeah, you have to best team in St. Catherine and the best team out there in the East, as they call themselves, Stars of the East. I think Harborview have won a CFU championship already. But Peck Clayton, got that goal, for Portmore, and Shaquille Bradford got that penalty, to get the game 1-1 and got a point out of that game. I didn't watch that game. That game. Where else? I think I was at work at that time. I just came off a flight and I have to go straight to work. I was at work, so yeah, I couldn't really watch that game. I only saw a couple highlights. But what's this going on with Harborview, Stars of the East? When you have man like Fagan, you have young Bradford up front, you have a Juma Johnson, you have goalkeeper Bennett, you have Breaking Bridge, you have Harding, you have what's his name? Priestley, the former KC player. They have so much good players. What's going on with Ludlow Bernard? He just seems to can't get the job done. The team that played, teams like, players that an Harborview team, Shaquan Nelson, really good player, Tavar Emmons, really good player, and they have guards too, they have Joshua Anglin, and they have a young player that named Omar Thompson. He's a really good player, he's a creative player, he can do his thing, but Harborview team is not bad. They're not bad. They're not a part of a team. And they have what I call him already, Romain Breaking Bridge. So what is going on with Stars of the East? The last time Harborview, let's see, I think Harborview is in 13th position at the moment. I think they're in 13th position. I tell you something before. Harborview is in 12th position right now. Is in 12th position. Harborview is in 12th position. Harborview yet to win a game in the Premier League. Harborview is yet to win. Hey, it's when teams like Harborview are lose, not sweet, because you see them team is some team where beat down for Arnett Garden. Yeah, man. Not sweet when Stars of the East are lose, man. Tell you, Harborview. Harborview have drew 3 games. Drew, lose. That's the farm Harborview is on right now. Lose, drew. Yo, look, people, I'm trying to make up, but Harborview have conceded 10 goals, and they have conceded 10 goals already this season, and they have scored 6 goals. You have quality players, but this is a quality team that can bounce back. Probably have to give them, a couple more weeks. I give them probably. I'm going to watch Harborview, and I'm going to give them the rest of the month until the January window. Then I can make a really good assessment on Harborview. But people, remember when Portmore got relegated and then bounce back could come win back-to-back Premier League title? But the last time, people, look, the last time Harborview got relegated, from the JPL, it was back in 1919. Let me talk foolishness. It was back in the year when I was born. 95 was the last time Harborview got relegated. That's why, you see, me tell people, Arnett Garden are the biggest club in Jamaica. From 1977 until now, never get relegated. So, big team. But yeah, man, Aberview, the last time though, Aberview have in the rut in the opening 10 game of a season, it was back in 18, 2018 and 2019 was the last time Aberview really got to a poor start of the season. I think the former player was coaching the team at the time. I think his name is Fabian Taylor. Oh, remember Fabian Taylor, striker, did his thing for Aberview in the MLS. But the last time they had a really poor run in first 10 games of a season, in around its first 10 games of a season, was in 2018, 2019. I remember that, Aberview was on a rebuild. That was the time, they decided, I think COVID come the next year. I think the next season, COVID, pitching, and, they just decide they're going to go with the youths and just change up by the team. Just change up by the team. But yeah, can this Aberview team get relegated this season, man? I don't think so. But who would have said this? Who would have said it about Portmore? Portmore can't get relegated with so much quality players at the time. So let's see. But I'd say, January though, I make a really good assessment on Stars of the East. But I have to make a mockery of these teams. I have to make a mockery because these teams, they like to make a mockery of Arnett Garden. Back in the days when Arnett Garden struggled, in the time when we have Fabian Davis, Jeffrey Maxwell, Jerome had come on 2 times during those rough periods. Max Straw. Who remember those coaches like Aberview, Portmore? These teams are making a mockery of Arnett Garden. Even the Waterhouse supporters. I remember one time, and I have so much histories about I have so many histories about the Jamaican Premier League, man. I remember one time, during those same period between 2005, 2010, me and my father, going to games. People used to be like, why want to go into games? Like, Arnett Garden is just going to lose. And it's just the love that we have for the club, man. It's just the love that we have for the club, but we have been supporting this team from the rut to the high. So, when me attack, and no man come tell me shut up my mouth, because them team I live it and see teams like Waterhouse, Portmore, back in the days when Portmore used to have, them big name players, Rowan Nelson, Kevin Deere, I think at one time they have one of the Wolf brother on the team. They have they used to have this right back, I think his name is Aaron, and they used to have so much, I think Laxley Thomas. So that's his name, the goalkeeper, that's his name. I don't remember, but yeah, and you have to have Adrian Reed, the defender, Horace Reed's son, but I have to make I have to make mockery when I see these things, man. But yeah, let's get back on track, what's going on. What is really going on match day 6. But yeah, them and Portmore drew 1-1. Portmore is in 9th position. Portmore is in 9th position, 7. No. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. But this is what I was saying, that that when the last time Aberview had a really poor season, it was back in that time when I said 2018, 2019. They actually finished the season and they finished in 9th position, 7 wins, 12 draws, and 12 lost, 14 draws. So yeah, 5-time champions, Stars of the East. That was their last time they finished. That's the last time they have a really poor start in around the first opening 10 games of a champion. But yeah, Dumble Olden versus Lime R from St. Anne. This is a team, I was flying really high over the last, if you exalt this campaign, the last 3 seasons, our 4 seasons, Dumble Olden, since they got promoted, they have been playing really good football, to be honest. I don't know what's going on with this. Let's see. Yeah, Dumble Holding, is a team that's been playing really good, for the last couple of years, but they just started the season really bad, but they lost some players, over the years, like I think, Demario Phillips, Christian just left the team. They lost Atta five Bygrave. They lost some players. I just can't remember all of them on top of my head at this moment. But Lenny Hyde, Lenny Hyde got his first 3 points of the season, beating Line all 2-1. Really good game, for the Clarendon base team. So many Clarendon teams in the league. You have Umblian, you have Veer. Is it just two? And you have Dumbledore Holding, and Portmore and St. Catherine right there. So yeah, you have so much, teams from the Clarendon era. And then, Clarendon is a really good parish, where players, where you have good quality players. I think the Wolves brothers, they are from Clarendon too. I think Ricardo Cousin, I think he's from Clarendon too. Rudolph Astin, who's playing currently right now for Portmore at 38. I think Rudolph Astin and Javian Verga for Umberland. I think both of them is the oldest players in the Jamaican Premier League, at 38. So yeah, Rudolph Astin is from Clarendon too. So yeah, Clarendon has produced a whole lot of good players, But Dumbledore got their first 3 points of the season. Finally they got some goals. Their first time scoring of the season too. So yeah, goal scored. People, if you Nicholas Nelson have scored one of the most individual. I think this is one of the best individual goal of the campaign so far, scored by Nicholas Nelson, formerly of Mullines player. He scored his second goal. I don't know how he got around there and scored that goal, but go and watch that highlights between Dumbledore and Lime Hall. Nicholas Nelson scored a brace. He also missed a penalty, before any goal has scored. And Anderson, say Jay Anderson, scored for Lime Hall, and then he also missed a penalty. So two penalty have been missed in this game. So I'm grateful to see, Dumbledore is up there. They had 5 points and in 10th position. So, let's see if this is a turning point for Lenny I team. But I think I saw an interview with Nelson, he was saying that, they're doing a bit of extra work, the coaching staff. Lenny Hyde is putting in a lot of work in this team. Everyone know the system or Lenny Hyde played. He like to play that passing game. As Dumbledore will play a passing game. But let me tell you this. Dumbledore team will get better. Why I said Dumbledore team will get better? You see, after the Manning Cup and the Costa Cup finish, they're going to have a bunch of school youth coming to this team, especially Clarendon College. Lenny Hyde is a coach of Clarendon College. You're going to have at least 4 or 5 Clarendon College coming in the January period, come play for Dumbledore. We saw what happened. It was Chapperton Maroons last season when Lenny was a coach. He got fired harsh way. And guess what? All those Clarendon College players, they decided not going to play for the Chapperton Maroons, and it caused a whole big chaos last season. So let's see, let's see what's going to happen, But guys, I really don't know, but and my thing right now, I knew comment is coming in, but I just can't see it. I just can't see it up here. I don't know what's going on. I don't want to reboot the page, but let's talk about Omar Anderson said, yes, bro, Ishmael King up. Weird to say that about a Brazilian. What did I say, Ishmael King? I don't remember what I said about the Brazilian. Is it that the provoking that he's really focused on what he's doing is I don't know if that, but Arnett Garden, Daniel Arnett Garden won. We beat Waterhouse 1-0 in the Jamaican Classico. I'm going to go on that game pretty soon, but the game that we played, Daniel, on Sunday, we beat Montego Bay 3-1. Shea Smith scored a brace, and Kimani Arbone scored the third goal. And Gianluca Rios Ferreira, the Brazilian, scored a penalty in that game. Big up to them, But yeah, that's our 5 comments, but I don't know what is going. I can't see anything on my screen right now. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't want to reboot this and the live end, but big up to everyone that's here. Don't forget to like the video. It's really important, people. Don't forget to like the video. It's really important. You know, um, yeah. Just get back on track. Get back on track. Where was I? Where was I? I was talking about but Dumble Olin and Lime all, yeah. So yeah, Dumble Olin got their first 3 points on the board. Dumble Olin got their first goals off on the cards for this season, scored by Nicholas Nelson. He's a younger brother of Jeremy Nelson that played for Mullines. Next game, this is oh my god, I don't know what is going on with Mullines. What is going on, Alex? You go on to the man and fire Mullines, Yeah, man, you gotta go and tell the man them fire, man. Because I'm watching the game Sunday gone a Friday Inter Park, and Alex, he's a man know the game. Alex Thomas, he's a man know the game. He's a really good center half. You was coming up in the Jamaica new system. You was that pioneer defender. You was that leader in the back. So I don't know. And you have a very experienced coach on the bench with you. Vassy Reynolds, Uno Vassy Reynolds is a really good coach, at the schoolboy level and all, developing and bringing up youngsters in the squad. But Alex Thomas, what is going on at Mullines? Before let me get the fixtures, for Mullines United this season. Let me get the fixtures because Mullines have been they played some really good teams, but losing to Treasure Beach, it's unacceptable. As I can imagine all that fun that I sat beside at Freddie Park, the Mullines United fan. I just can imagine how you was living that game in the complex since then. But Alex Thomas is rock bottom. He have lost his last 3 games of the season so far. So Mullines United fixtures so far in the Premier League. First game, they drew 0-0 with Veer. The second game, they lost 4-0. I think that game played at Stadium East against Arnett Garden. The third game, they drew 1-1 with Umberlion. Their fourth game, they lost to the champions, Mount Pleasant, 3-1. I think that was in a complex. And last Sunday, they lost to the Portmore team at Ferdinand Park, 2-0. And then they played today and they lost 2-1 against Treasure Beach. I'm not saying Treasure Beach shouldn't win, but I'm saying Mullines is a team, scored, I think, 37 goals last campaign. The marksman, Jason Wright, I don't know what is going on with him. Livingston, they just seems to not getting it right. Jeremy Nelson, I don't know what is going on with those 3 players are the main players for Mullines. So Alex is going to have to, they have some big problems. I think when he did his post-game interview thing, was it Donald Oliver? I don't remember his name. He was the other guy, said that, is like, you think he said something, is your job is on the line or something, but he's like, no, it's just one of those games that where we win. Every time when Alex talked, he always said his team didn't finish, but yet I know that Mullines is not finishing up actually. Mullines created so many chances, for a team that created so many chances and they only scored 3 goals of the JPL so far. 3 goals. They only scored in 3 goals in the JPL so far. It's really poor, but Mullines have created so many chances. And Ramsey, yeah. I just don't know, man. I just don't know what is going on with Mullines, but that game that they lost to Treasure Beach, it's unacceptable. But Javian Brown, Javine, whatever, his name, he scored that first goal, for Treasure Beach. I think it was it was a mistake, you know. I think it was a mistake in that game. Um, yeah, but Treasure Beach scored the first goal, and then Mullines, gave up a penalty right after, and I think Jabori Al, he scored to go 2-0 up, but Mullines just seems to not getting it right. But Romario Smith, scored. He scored a goal. Was it? No, 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 no. I don't know what I was saying, but Romario Smith, the Treasure Beach, that was the name I was looking for. That's the next player. So Don, Kwesi Chong, um, Shaquille Bradford, young Warren Brown, and Romario Smith. These players are really good players. Look out for them. They are some of the young top under 23 attacking players in the league in the last can really doing it at the number 9 position. But Mullines, I think Alex Thomas, he said this in his post game. I think it was the second game. I think it was in the second game when they played Arnett Garden. That no, it was a Mount Pleasant game when they got 3-1. He said that they're going to have to dip in the transfer market and try to sign some players. But Mount Pleasant, not Mullines is really he's really shorted at some players. I think they have a couple players went down injured, the last game I watched them at Fredington Park. So their squad is really thin. But you could understand Mullins is a team that is on a shoestring budget. So Alex Thomas, but he said that, he's trying to figure out the right tactics, for this team, let them play much better. But I think this team can play much better football, but they just have to do it more collectively as a unit. It's not an individual thing. It's not just Ramsey, Jason Wright. It's not just Livingston. It's not just Jeremy Nelson. You have to play the football together. And that's what they did last season. I think that's what they're lacking. They're lacking that. And I think they lost one of their big center half last season. I don't remember his name. I'm going to get his name next show and call him. But they lost a really good key pieces in the back line. So but should never should never be losing to Treasure Beach. But respect to Treasure Beach, they won the game. They won the game. And the assistant coach, Fitzroy, talk about the strength, in the second half. They kind of strengthened the midfield because the Mullines team was getting in around, between their defensive era and the midfield era, and that's where they make, I think, 2 changes in the second half. And from there, Treasure Beach started to play a little bit more freely. But young Romario Smith, he spoke after the game also, and he said that this is a team. I think their coach is Rambo, I think, but he's not around right now. I think their assistant coach Fitzroy is one that lead the team today. But I have to big up, before I go any further, I have to big up Treasure Beach supporter, man. This man said he's been supporting the team since the 90s. When I see passionate fans about the JPL teams, the man said him leave St. Elizabeth at 12 p.m. today just to attend the game at the Anthony Tony Sparring Complex in the jungle. He leave at 12 p.m. to come to Kingston to watch his team. That's really good. Kudos to your fan, But yeah, young Romario Smith said, they are not just in the league to try to survive. Yes, they want to survive, but he also go on and said that, they would love to compete. They would love to get a shot off that playoff, but they just have to do things more consistently. They have to play more better, and they have to tighten up things at the back. Those are the words of young Romario Smith. But Mullines' next fixtures before they play Harborview, Mullines is in big problem. The next fixtures will play Dumble Holding and Limehouse. I don't know. To all Mullines is playing at the rate, it's just that they going down. But next 2 fixtures for Mullines is Dumble Holding and Limehouse before they have that big game against Stars of the East. But last game of the podcast, Arnett Garden versus Waterhouse. Most people would say Arnett Garden and Tivoli, the West Kingston derby, is a bigger derby. I feel like it was a bigger derby back in the time when when politics was really huge in the sports. But now, since the early 2000, I would say from 2003, when the younger the different cycle of Tivoli Garden players start to come up, the Leslie Scott, Christopher Jackson, when those Steve Green, when those younger players were pushing up in the Tivoli first team, I think things kind of take a little twist. Tivoli went down a little bit, so the West Kingston derby wasn't that fierce rival between two teams. But, one time the West Kingston derby, the fixtures used to keep an upper camp because it was so much war. It's JLP and it's PNP. So we know the pedigree in between those two parties. But I feel like Waterhouse and Arnett Garden for the last 2 decades now have been the biggest fixture in Jamaican Premier League. You could see how the organization organized the Jamaican Premier League to Arnett Garden and Waterhouse play the Boom El Classico. I call it the Jamaican El Classico. I mean, they call it Boom because, Boom is the sponsor for that preseason tournament, And I think for the last two Boom El Classico, Arnett have the three, is it 2 or 3? I want to remember 2 at the moment. Arnett Garden is unbeaten in the Boom El Classico. So Arnett Garden and Waterhouse is the most supported team in Jamaica. I don't care what Mount Pleasant. I don't care what them man they down in the Garden Parish on a center and want to say. Them have a good supporting base. Yes, I love it. But Arnett Garden and Waterhouse are the two best supported team in the country. Arnett Garden and Waterhouse alone will play any other team and full the national stadium, especially Arnett. We did that when we beat Portmore in the final. We alone full up grandstand. We alone full up bleachers. When Jungle ready for roll out, not if he dog up on the road. So yeah, so it's been a while. No, I think it's in 2021. Waterhouse have beaten Arnett Garden, but Waterhouse used to have a record before 2021. I think it was in March. Was in March of 2021 is the last time I think Waterhouse beat Arnett Garden. But before that, Arnett Garden go on to 14 games without beating Waterhouse. Like Waterhouse used to hold you like poop, 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 poop. I saw the man used to just hold you one time. Anyway, they hold you, just a thump up your face. It is a pain, man. It's a pain, man, especially when he's an Arnett Garden supporter. And you live in Kingston, and you live on the road. We have to take the 82 bus to school. I have to take the 82 bus to work. When Arnett Garden and Waterhouse split on a Sunday or a Monday, when you go into work, man, all 82 bus are celebrate. That's how the rival is huge. The rival is huge, and I see some old traditional Waterhouse fans. Yo, big up Pat Cover, man. The man who come from what them call them a capture, big up Pat Cover, man, come from a capture in a Waterhouse, man, I lick the Pat Cover. Who I haven't seen in a while now, I haven't seen the guy that I was dressed up in. I'm going to make a inquiry about him. Like, what happened to Fireman, the man that wear the helmet and the blue, white, and yellow fireman suit? I'm going to make an inquiry about what's happened to that fan. Those two fans, they're passionate, and Arnett Garden have a supporter, pick up to man like them call. Most people don't really know him in complex as Natty, but over on the Maxfield area, that's call him Natty, but his name is Wacky. Everybody know Wacky. Everybody know Wacky. He's the most passionate fan. Wacky, I want them fans of Arnett Garden where for the last probably 10 seasons, Wacky have been carrying a season pass ticket for the complex team. He's a them man. They say if you cut him, bleed red and black. But Waterhouse is the oldest record where I haven't beat them in 14 games. That's like nearly 5 years. That's nearly 5 years from 2017 to 2021. Nearly 5 years, as I said, the man used to beat a bad man. But now, all I look, we are all I look a record against them. We beat them again tonight, 1-0. Good goal, Warner Brown. Look, let me start off things with Warner Brown. Warner Brown, I've seen him. I think I've seen only 2 games of him for stats in the Manning Cup. And I only seen 1 game of him for Tivoli when he used to play in the Premier League for Tivoli. And I didn't really have much to say about him. He just looked like a little young talent, trying to find his way. But watching Warner Brown live, people, he can be, look, Warner Brown seems to me, when I look at him, watching the game live, he just looked like a young Rashford. Remember when Rashford, coming up to the academy, when he scored those goals at Michelin and Arsenal, he just looked like that type of player. He for his age, he have height, he's really strong. And Warner Brown, he have a lot of off-the-ball movements and he's quick. But the only issue I'm having right now with Warner Brown, and you will have these issues, with youngsters. He's just not consistent in front of the goal. That game, like in the Mobile game that he played, Sunday gone, he should have scored at least 2 goals. He should have scored 2 goals. But you will get these type of form from young players time and time. But if Warner Brown can tighten up, is finishing, if he can be a little bit more prolific and how he's finishing goals, he will be a deadliest striker in the league right now. May I tell you, this youth off the ball, he would have killed off the ball movements. Even when Arnett is in transition and keeping possession of the ball, just watching this youth live, you just see he's making moves after move after move, and he don't get frustrated. He just know that that's the work of a number 9, and the goal is going to come. The goal is going to come. But today game, Arnett versus Waterhouse, he scored, but the game started electric. The first 30 minutes of the game, it was really electric. Waterhouse started out as like they're going to score 2 quick goals in the first 5 minutes at Arnett Garden, but they got that opportunity. Who got that opportunity? They got that opportunity in the second minute of the game where Waterhouse could have scored, but they didn't took their opportunity. And Andre Smith got that opportunity in the second minute of the game, and he didn't score. But right after that corner kick, and they make another attack, Arnett Garden just took over the game. They just took over the game. But when Arnett Garden scored, though, it was kind of on the run-up play. Arnett Garden should have scored more. But I feel like, getting 3 red cards in our game, Arnett Garden got 3 red cards, man. And I think Gerald Neal Jr. got that red card in the 60-something minute. And we got another 2 red card. I think the number 3 and Jamon Shepherd. Both the 3 red cards. What the hell Gerald Neal Jr. is doing? You just can't do things like that. You already on a yellow card. And his father will do probably the same thing. His dad will probably do the same thing too. So stupid. It's stupid. Arnett Garden, I think, got the most red card last season. Very indisciplined. Damari Deacon got like 2 or 3 red card last season. So, and we came back again in 1 game, 3 red card. Oh my God. But one thing I have to say though, I'm going to talk a little bit about Arnett Garden before I go on to talk about Waterhouse. The 3 red cards is down to the players. But, defensively, we played real good. Big up to Joel Cunningham, man of steel. This youth is really intelligent. Just to look on how he played, he's really intelligent. He made a mistake in that Tivoli Garden game, and he let through Justin Dunn to score the first goal in that game. But, he's been a rock solid defender for the Jungle team. He's the captain. He's leading from the back. He had Eric Edwards. That's his name, Eric Edwards. Behind him, the goalkeeper is really playing good. Waterhouse not take a shot on target to the people. Waterhouse not take a shot on target to them. If I mean like Fuzzy, them I run steps tomorrow. Or if you come in a big El Classico game like this playing against your fierce rival Arnett Garden, you don't take a shot. One to Mr. Brian, one to me not see ya beat up your chest, but the midfield though, they kind of hold things down, especially in the second half. Arnett Garden I mean, not really Arnett Garden, the game kind of slowed down a little bit. I don't know if the players got tired because the first 30 minutes it was all running, in the game. But I think Jaime Thomas, National didn't do what National do. He make a few runs there and there, but I think he got a few opportunities where he could have played the ball a little bit more quicker. He could have played the ball a little bit more quicker up front and move the ball a little bit more faster in transition. Kimani Arbon, this is one of his worst game of the season. People, when you put on that red and black jersey, it's a whole lot of pressure. It's like putting on a Barcelona jersey. It comes with a lot of baggage. And watching the game, I have experienced so many things. Every time when I go to an Arnett game, Kimani Arbon, he got so many criticism, from his own fans. When he scored, they love him. When he do things that it's not right, they cuss him out. But that's how junglist fans are. That's how most fans. I think that's how most fans are around football. But junglist fans, they are just different. They're different. They're going to tell you in front of your face that you're shit. You don't play anything today. Kimani Arbon played a really poor game. I mean, Shea Smith got a few look in, but he picked up that injury. I look on knock in the mobile game. Surprised that he started. But they took him off, I think, when we got that red card. So didn't really have a good game. Eric didn't have much to do in the game. As I said, Waterhouse don't kick a shot on target. The number 8, I think his name is Marlon Martin. He played an okay game. But want to move on. Waterhouse, is a team that when Waterhouse playing Arnett Garden, I always get scared because it doesn't matter if Arnett is on the low and playing a team like Waterhouse is on the high. Because back in those days, in between 2005, 2010, when Waterhouse have Irving English, Kevin Lamy, Skipper, Dotty Man, you can't name it, so many players, Breaking Bridge, Zappa, there's so much players, man, back in the days for Waterhouse, and they were on their peak. Waterhouse, I think Waterhouse have lost the most final in the history of Jamaican football. They went to so many finals, and they just keep losing. But yeah, in that time, they have so much good players, and Arnett Garden was on the low. But anytime Arnett Garden play Waterhouse, you see the best. You see the best of Arnett Garden. So, both teams are flying high right now. Arnett is 4 points, I think, behind Mount Pleasant. I think Arnett Garden is on 11 points. Yeah, Arnett Garden is on 11 points. Played one game extra. Maybe Mount Pleasant is in the lead. 15 points. Arnett just 4 points behind them. Waterhouse is just 1 point behind Arnett Garden. Waterhouse have lost. Their second game of the season. They lost that game, I think, against Veer. Was it Veer, I think? But yeah, they lost their second game of the season. Arnett Garden have, only lost one game and drew 2. But, Arnett Garden is a team that is the only team I can see in the league that will keep pushing on, and try to keep Mount Pleasant, keep them close by. But I don't see any other team in the league can really give Mount Pleasant a run for their money, because when Arnett Garden start to win, they just start to go and win games. But it's going to be really difficult. This is a very young Arnett team. This is a very inexperienced bench, and the team last season was much deeper. It was more depth, because these players that starting now, most of them, those were the players that used to be on the bench for Arnett Garden. So they are initially starting now, and a very young team. So let's see what we're going to get a lot of inconsistent run. for Arnett Garden. But Waterhouse, I expect better from Waterhouse. I'm a bit disappointed in their performance. They didn't give much look in. They didn't really create much towards goal. I don't know. But you have to give Xavier Gilbert, the coach. He closed down. He spoke about, let's defend Waterhouse to their strength. You have to defend to their strength because you cannot give Javian Bryan, he's scoring goals. He's just scored a hat trick. And, Nikai Christian, he just cannot give him any space in the middle. So, he used Marlon Martin to mark Nikai, he used Jamai Shepherd. Every time when Nikai Christian get the ball, there's always 2 or 3 Arnett Garden players around him. So, Xavier Gilbert have done a really good job. And Arnett and Waterhouse today. And, they didn't let Waterhouse have their own way. They just didn't. I'm just looking for. I can't find it. I'm looking for something, for Waterhouse. But I don't know. I just can't find it. So yeah, I found it, so Waterhouse really have a good team, starting the goalkeeper and the captain, Kemar Foster, young, is a regular boy goalkeeper. Andre Fletcher, he didn't do much, Waterhouse used to have a Fletcher. I wonder if it's the Fletcher, if it's Fletcher's son, probably, I don't know, but Waterhouse used to have a Fletcher, man. They have Keith Simpson, Keith Simpson, he's a elder statesman of the team, he's a politician, and they have Devante Walker, really good player. And they have DeAndre Thomas, the number 10. That's the name I was looking for, DeAndre Thomas. You just cannot let, Javian Bryan and DeAndre Thomas and Nikai Christian get their own way on the pitch. You will get punishment, and I think, Arnett Garden didn't allow the Waterhouse to have their own game. They always have like 2 or 3 players and their key players in the game. And the game kind of died out a little bit, especially when Arnett got that red card, but Waterhouse didn't. Like, Arnett got it down, a man down, and Waterhouse just playing the ball around. Like, is it down to the coaching staff to see that the Waterhouse team was playing really slow after Arnett got that red card? They did not even step up a notch. If this was probably 15 years ago playing against that super Waterhouse team, and Arnett get red card, Arnett bound to concede at least 2 goals or some Canada fly off of the net. So I don't know what was the game plan, for Marcel Fuzzy after Arnett got that red card, but it's just unacceptable. Performance like that is unacceptable against the Junglers. If it was another team, I could probably accept it, but against the Junglers, no, you cannot perform like that. Waterhouse performed really poor in the second half. It's like they don't want to play football, but it doesn't matter if the coach, the other opponent coach, come in the game and spot on with his tactics, defend you to your strength, and close down those areas. You have to go to plan B. And Waterhouse striker Javian Bryan, this is what I have to tell you now, youngster. Yeah, because I saw you, I see I'm going to be a game of Arnett. I see I'm going to be a game and you walk with your chest up in the air. Because I know you from your youth when I play for Boys Town. I know you. Yeah, you're always, good player now. Now I criticize you. But when you have on that yellow and blue jersey and you're playing against Arnett Garden, it doesn't matter if you have scored 3 goals, Pantifally, if you have scored 3 goals per Veer, if you have scored 3 goals per Mount Pleasant, when you come to play Arnett Garden, you must turn up. You see, if you need some advice of playing in that Jamaican El Classico, link Kevin Lamy, make him teacher. Or Jeremy and Tuffy Anderson. Link them Monday. Get some skill set. Learn from it. Go back and watch some tape. And when Kevin Lamy and Jeremy and Tuffy Anderson are play against Arnett, a war. And that me I tell you. You come and play some little soft game. If me was a Waterhouse supporter, man, the amount of cussing, I cuss him. Because him come and play some little soft game like some pretty boy thing. And I say, right, brother. No, you score a chick with you. And I see all the national stadium, man. I know I say top striker. I mean, you're a good player. No? Don't get me wrong, he's a good player. But what you do today against Arnett is unacceptable, brother. You do nothing. As a number 9, playing for Waterhouse, playing against Arnett, you must do something. You must do something. So you have to just go back and look by your performance and see what's needed. When you come to play Arnett, you have to come to war. And as a man that lived in the trench town Rima era, I knew you used to watch, Premier League when Boyston was in the Premier League and Arnett and Boyston used to have them rivalry going back in the days. You used to watch those games, Tulips. You used to watch those games, Tulips, but Tulips have a really poor game baller. Not saying I'm there, so I criticize you, but you have to play better when you come to Arnett Garden. That's where you're going to get the love. That's where you're going to win the hearts of the Jewsland people. When you do, you can't look, Tulips. You see, Waterhouse have some player where them only turn up when they play Arnett. Them only turn up when they play Arnett Garden. The rival is huge, my friend. The rival is huge, Tulips. So if nobody have a list about this on the replay and go tell him, yeah, man, you have to play better, man, when you come up against Arnett Garden team. And I want to man, the rival, man. You think Arnett Garden and Waterhouse are some could pick the rival? A bad man game them. Man come out for war. When Kevin Lamy play, him have to come on him top and beat because if him no look, Geraldine Kunte, I got kick with him foot. When you look on man like Breaking Bridge, I play center half for Waterhouse, Zappa in the middle. I want them man to come a complex for more on it and take around the 3 points. So you come a complex, don't come like you want to play pretty boy football and you want to play cute. And I say, brother, you have to play good football, man. You have to come and fight the defender them, man. Show the hunger there. Because I tell you, any old Tulips, the number 9 for Waterhouse did score today. I score a burst again for Arnett. You see the write-up where you get. You see what happened to Justin Dunn last week week before last? Him score a chicken at the complex against Arnett as a Tivoli player. You see the big write-up where you get, brother? Not saying you now get right up but when you score for Arnett, when you play for Tivoli and Waterhouse, it's a different thing, bro. Your name ring around the country in a year. Everybody right now who watch Jamaican Premier League know Justin Dunn. Not saying they don't know you, Tulips, but Justin Dunn get that right up. He got that right up, when he scored an hat-trick. Scored a hat-trick against Arnett Garden when Jerome coach Tivoli. No problem, man. So you have to play, brother. You have to play with your heart, brother. You have to play better than that. You have to show more fighting spirit. Yeah, man, you have to show more fighting spirit, man. Just go back, man. And at that with with some of the youngsters them who have in our league where if you know that some rival game, say which other big rivals in the league? Not much. You don't really have much. Rival teams. I mean, Stone and Aberview used to be that. Used to have a little rival back in the days, but it's just all about Arnett, Tivoli, Arnett, Waterhouse, Arnett, Boyston. Aberview, Boyston. That was a big rival. That one when the elder statesman them. When Lenny and them man they play for Boyston. When Aberview have them big team. I think Seba United. Seba was from outer west. Used to have a rival with Reno. The only 2 teams at one time used to be up there in the west. Seba is from Westmoreland down at Frome. No, Seba is from Montego Bay and Reno is from Frome in Westmoreland. Is it Westmoreland? Really, really far. No, but yeah, we have come to an end, trickle down. Talking about Reno, people, boy, anytime I call a name the Reno, remember a story my father give one way. When man say Reno make him walk out of the national stadium, I think think it was what 9-5 when Rena win the Premier League. Man say he make Rena make him walk out of the stadium and cry like a baby when Mott give her the ball on the line. Was it Mott or Eugene Williams? You know, I tell you, trying to see. Trying to see, get the thing. Trying to remember, you know, when did Reno won that Premier League? I'll tell you when that was the time when they beat Arnett Garden. That was 1990. Yeah, that was 1990 when they beat Arnett Garden in the National Stadium. You know, yeah, 1990, 91 season, 91. So in 1991, you know, that's when Rena, you know, beat Arnett Garden. You know, make my father walk out of the stadium. I cry like a baby. Yeah. But people, what I was telling you guys, you know, Waterhouse are one of them teams that will go to the most final and lose, man. You can know Waterhouse have a final and lose. But even though Waterhouse journey really started, you know, back in, but you know, them and Boystone probably up feet, you know. That's what I'm seeing right now. Waterhouse go 1, 2. Waterhouse go 6 final and lose. 7 final Waterhouse lose. You know, Waterhouse have lost 7 finals. You know, 7 finals Waterhouse have lost over the years. Let's see if I got it right. Let's see if I got it right. I gotta check it back. If I 7, I gotta check it back. Yeah, quite a few. Yeah, quite a few finals. Yeah, man. But yeah, Waterhouse and Boystone have lost the most finals. You know, I'm going to run through that history deeply more and collect the full stats on that. You know, but as what I'm seeing, Waterhouse and Boystone have lost, you know, the most finals in the history of Jamaican Premier League. You know, the first people that boy. Now for big up Santos, you know, because Santos win so much league, you know, about 7 Premier League Santos win, you know. 7? No, Portmore the only team that won 7. You know, Harbourview, Tivoli, Arnett, Santos win 5, you know. So for big up Santos, the team that's been struggling since Wapi killed Philo, you know. Spanner Dennis, I mean, I saw an interview one time with Spanner Dennis and he was saying that, you know, he rather his team play like a more development team than come to the Premier League because, you know, the Premier League is come to the Premier League and then you have to spend a budget around 30 million, 40 million a season. And then when you win the Premier League, you only get like 5 million, 3 million. It's just that it's a joke, but I can understand what, you know, Spanner Dennis is talking about, but it's the same thing in the Premier League. You know, you don't the money that you spend over that season on salaries, traveling costs, and all of that. It's more than what you know. It's more than what you get from winning the Premier League. But what those clubs do is sponsorship, gate receipt, TV rights money. You know, TV rights money in England is so huge. That's what they use to build back up the kitty. But you know, people like a breakout, you know, at 10, 12 to 12 12 to 12, But people, thanks to everyone that's, stick around for the hour and a half, watching the Jamaican Premier League. That, man, and Nick the Media House people have come to the end of the show, man. Really appreciate everyone that's partial. People, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It's very, very important to the channel. It's very important to the channel, people. So, if you're new, click that subscription bell. But people, the next set of fixtures, I think Arnett Garden play Cavalier. I think Lima play Harborview next, and I think that those two teams will go on to play the CFU Championship. So I don't know if those games going to play on the weekend. So on the Premier League website, I saw that it's supposed to be 5 games. It's supposed to be 5 games coming up in the middle for the weekend. So let's keep on close eye on it. 5 games. 5 games. So those 5 games. No, yeah. Lima Academy versus Veer at Stadium East Sunday, and Dumlowland versus Mullines at Stadium East. So those are the two featured games on Sunday. And Monday will feature, I think, 3 games. Wow. Monday, November the 27th, Montego Bay hosts Mount Pleasant at Westport Park at 3 p.m. That will be a big game down there in Montego Bay. Montego Bay fans will be coming out for that game, and Mount Pleasant fans will travel for that game. And Waterhouse will place at Stadium East at the double-header kickoff at Stadium East 5 p.m. And then the Monday night 7:30 game is Portmore United versus Tivoli Garden. Clash of both titans. So people, that's it. That's it. See you guys. What's next? See you guys to the Prem podcast on the weekend. Yeah, Premier League is back. English Premier League. So yeah, the Prem podcast going to be back. Thanks for watching, guys. This is the kind of media host. Salute. I'm out.